let's look at where you are headed if you don't do anything and don't think about it. And do you like that? If you like it, then there's no problem. If you want to adjust anything, let's talk about what in those patterns we could shift, you could tweak
Exactly.
to
Yes.
to then diverge from that single timeline. You're like creating timelines through awareness and
Hmm.
choice, which is something that I talk about often, where it's like if you're aware of something, you then have the freedom to choose. So it's like awareness will set you free through the power of choice. So really, this is just another tool for conscious choice making. Hello, hello, welcome to Akashic Records and Friends. My name is Mina, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Thanks so much for joining me. I, as ever, am so excited to share this episode with you. I think I say that every single time, but I'm excited because this time I got to read for my friend Sabrina Marie Chase, and she is an incredible tarot reader, amongst other things. But I'm going to go ahead and read her bio first, and then I will gush about her even more. Okay. Sabrina Marie Chase, PhD, is a teacher, tarot diviner, and writer who has been working with tarot for over 45 years. She specializes in deep dive readings using round decks that offer great detail. Sabrina is also a medical anthropologist and a former university professor. She's currently teaching an online, join anytime, drop in tarot class for beginners and intermediates twice a month. This fall, she'll be teaching Reading in the Round, an online 6-week tarot class using the Round Rider-Waite-Smith deck. You can see some of her teaching and tarot videos on YouTube and visit her on Facebook and Instagram. Sabrina also co-facilitates the You Were Born for These Times community, which brings together healers, storytellers, yogis, spiritual practitioners, and magical workers supporting each other through chaos and change. So I think that's a beautiful bio, and it does kind of like give you a little glimpse of some of the goodness that she offers. But it was, oh my gosh, it was so fun. So with Sabrina, what was interesting, I actually met her at the You Were Born for These Times retreat that happened at the beginning of the year in 2025. And I was at that because one of my dear friends, Michaela Daystar, was facilitating that. She's also one of the facilitators of that community and retreat. And that's how I met Sabrina. And the reason we ended up connecting is because during the retreat, Sabrina was, there were 4 people facilitating, and they each used and worked with a different modality. And Sabrina's modality is tarot. And she was guiding a session where she was kind of offering questions and prompts for us to like pull our own cards because this was an online retreat. So everyone was kind of in their own space, doing their own thing, but being led by Sabrina. And amongst, so many sessions happened in that retreat from all 4 facilitators. But during the tarot one, I was so tickled and touched and impressed by the questions that Sabrina had for our own tarot spread. And I couldn't contain myself, and I just had to tell her that. And that's kind of how we connected. And we decided to chat after the retreat. And yeah, we were just, I don't know, chit-chatting. And then I was like, oh, would you want to come on my podcast? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. So that's how that whole thing came to be. But what we ended up doing is because she's also a reader. She actually did a tarot reading for me. She did 2 tarot readings for me, and I did 2 Akashic Record readings for her. So what you'll hear on the episode today is the first Akashic reading I did for her. And then in the post-reading chat, we talk about the exchanges that we did. We talk about the readings I did for her. We talk about the reading she did for me. And what's super fun. Okay, you heard in the bio, right? She is a former university professor. So she is like elite nerd status. And in the post-reading chat, we get so nerdy about our different modalities. So if you are curious about how she works with the tarot and if you want to hear more about like the behind the scenes of like reading and Akashic record reading and how we experienced each other's readings as people that work with different modalities, you're gonna love that super nerdy post-reading chat where we kind of just geek out about how much we enjoyed each other's readings. It's really fun. And I don't want this intro to be too long, but I really could talk about her forever. So, in the reading that I got to do for Sabrina, the first one, which is the one that you'll hear, she asked beautiful questions about her soul relationship with her mom. And it was, oh gosh, she asked great questions. She was really, and again, she's like a university professor. She has like kind of an academic point of view. And so, she was asking, what did I come here to learn with my mom? What did we come here to teach each other, learn from each other? And like, what is the nature of the soul bond, the karmic relationship, and the lessons that we're here to learn and teach to each other? And those questions are so good. Oh my gosh, her questions were beautiful. And like I said, like, I really admire her way of asking questions, and she comes with such sincere curiosity. So in Akashic Record readings, it's really beautiful, I think, when people want to, ask questions about the relationships that they value so much that the people closest to us, those relationships can be so loving. They can also challenge us in different ways. And I'm sure you've had that experience too, where some of your close relationships are your greatest teachers. And it's where you learn deep lessons. And so I love that we got to ask those questions directly to the records about what is the nature of those lessons that we come here to exchange with each other. And it was really beautiful. And so yeah, I'm so excited for you to get to hear that. And as always, I just want to remind you that this is a reading specifically for Sabrina in her records. And though some of the information might resonate with you, I am reading specifically for her. And I also want to note that, in an Akashic record reading, when I read for someone, we can ask about our own relationship with other people, but we're not in the other person's records. And I mention this when I'm reading with Sabrina too. It's like we were in Sabrina's records, not her mom's. So we could get some information from the records about her relationship with her mom that was relevant to Sabrina at this time, that would be supportive and helpful to Sabrina, but we weren't going into her mom's records without her permission or awareness by any means. So I just wanted to clarify that. So lots and lots of goodness in this episode. And I just want to name at the top before we dive in that she mentioned a couple of dates of when her offerings are, and I think some of those have shifted. So she offers a retreat and then she offers different classes. And so you can find the updated dates and correct information on all of that in the show notes. There's lots of links that she has. You can find her YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, website, and the You Were Born for These Times retreat. All of that goodness is in the show notes. So definitely feel free to reach out to her and connect with her and drop into her community. She has a lot of amazing offerings. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm out of breath. So, yeah, I think that's everything. We will go ahead and transition into the reading now. As ever, if you want to listen to it, you can catch it on Spotify. If you want to watch the reading and the post-reading chat and see our faces, you can find that on Substack and YouTube, and you are lovingly invited to subscribe in all of those places wherever you prefer to listen or watch. Okay, thank you so much. I can't wait to catch up with you at the end of the episode. Enjoy. The Akashic Records are now open.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna just take a moment to see if there's anything immediately present upon opening. Your your keepers of your Akashic records, your spirit team is so respectful. It's it's really remarkable. It's like there's such a like respectful quality in the space where it's like they're not yeah, it's like they're waiting and it's like they know how this works, which is really sweet, but it's like there's so much strength and fortification and such like a laser focus on your mission and
Mhm.
your soul's almost like desire to be effective in this lifetime and like really it's like if I'm here, let's make the most out of it. And there's such a focus there that
Yes.
it's there's so much strength and support for you and around you and that mission to be highly effective as a spirit in a human body. And the amount of respect that's present in this space is really remarkable. It's like, wow,
I
yeah,
love it.
it's
I
really
love it.
beautiful. Hmm.
It's so good to hear. It's so good to hear.
Is there anything that you'd like to ask?
Yes. In fact, I would like to focus this session on the personal lessons I need to learn with my family in order to be my optimal self as a diviner, a teacher, and a healer in this life and complete my mission here with optimal joy and effectiveness in the world. So, this is about cleaning my own as an anthropologist, our own selves, our whole persons are our instruments. We watch, we observe, we listen, and we do our analysis of what we see and hear. So we are the instruments. So the stronger, more resilient, the clearer the instrument, the better the information. And that's what I bring. I would like to know as an opening question, I'm going to ask questions about my relationship with my mother and my brother in turn. They survived my father, and I have a sense that I have agreements with them that I am here to learn specific lessons with and from my mother and to teach specific lessons with and to her, and the same with my brother. So I'd like to start by asking if you can tell me anything that would help me move forward in the best possible way about the lessons I'm here to learn with and from my mother and the lessons I'm here to teach her.
Okay, thank you so much for that beautiful, yeah, kind of like setting of the stage and like setting of the context. Hmm. Yeah, let me sit with that. I'm curious, would it be okay if we began this kind of like exploration of the
Mm.
lessons and relationship between your mother by exploring the soul relationship?
Oh my gosh, yes,
As,
please go
as
right ahead.
okay.
She's so important to me. I really want to understand everything I can.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. So, I also want to just preface this with we're not in your mother's records. We will be able to receive information that's relevant to you, however.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, just wanted to name that. So it seems that your souls have been, in relationship and incarnating together for some time. So there's history there, there's soul history there. And it seems like your mother's spirit enjoys, and they're using the word enjoys loosely, but it's like there's like a devotion to coming to Earth um, to like use her strength as an example of encouragement for other people.
Mhm.
So it seems like she has a very enduring spirit. And it seems like, yeah, there have been multiple lifetimes where she's like really been through the ringer as far as like human suffering and human experience goes. And part of the reason that like that happens and like there's yeah, her soul like chooses again very loosely, lightly, respectfully using the word chooses to do that is to not just endure for the sake of endurance, but it's like it offers something to the people connected to her
Hmm.
as they witness her going through that, and like her resilience is really remarkable, and her strength, her capacity to endure life is really like inspiring for those that are able to see it and witness her move through life, and to yeah, just be in the gift of her presence and
Hmm.
to know her. So that feels like that's there. I'm curious how that feels to you though.
Hmm. Good. Please continue. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Hmm. So it seems like since that's something that her spirit has been doing, repeatedly, it's done that like definitely multiple times over, um, over many lifetimes. It's been doing that, and it seems like the bond between both of you, that's one of the lessons that she's like gifting you in this lifetime is the demonstration, like the embodiment of strength,
Yes.
endurance. And so it seems like that's like one piece that's present in response to your question of like one what are the lessons that she's here to kind of like gift to you? And it seems like that's one is like a uh an undeniable like model of strength, which is really powerful, and especially like it does feel deeply connected to your work. It feels like such a gift in these times too, where it's like, oh, it's almost like there's like a subtle sense of like okayness in the background, like a background sense of okayness, because it's like I know someone who's been through something very difficult. And so as your spirit encounters difficulty in this lifetime, it's like, oh, but it's like overcomable. Like it's doable. Like we can do it, and it will be hard, but like I know what strength looks like. So it's okay. And
Mhm.
it doesn't mean like it's not hard. It doesn't mean that it's not that we prefer that. Like things are like that. It's like, of course we wouldn't. But it's like there's almost this like soul level of like, I can do this because I've seen
Mhm.
it done.
Yes.
So it seems like that's something that's present too. Um, yeah, and there's a lot more around this. So let me see. Do you have questions about anything I've shared so far?
No, she certainly has survived really major challenges.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's very, very strong, stubborn, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very powerful spirit.
Yeah, and there's like something that it's like it feels like there's almost like a sturdiness to her spirit where it's
Yeah.
like, and so yeah, stubbornness feels like that doesn't feel super surprising because it's like it just kind of comes with the territory of like being such an enduring being, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really curious also about um, the exchange between us.
Yeah. There's a
How
lot more around this. Yeah. So let
I
me,
would love to hear it. Tell me
okay.
more.
Yeah, let me listen for a moment. There's an interesting like quality, like a dynamic in the like soul bond, it seems. And it seems like um, if we were to kind of like imagine and go along with this perspective that your two souls were kind of incarnating together, yours and your mother's. It seems like part of the relationship that you'll prefer to have, and like it's happened more than once, is almost like she's enduring something difficult, and it's almost like if we were watching like a game, like a sports, like a soccer game. And she was on the field, like playing, and it's an intense match. It's like really intense. The stakes are high. It's like extremely hot outside, right? It's like all the players are like working really hard. It's very physically intense. And then it's like, okay, for a moment though, it's like the game is still going, but like one like person might go to the sidelines to like get a drink of water, even though it's not an official timeout. And it seems like one of the things that you offer her is like being the person on the sidelines that like hands her the water while things are still happening. And so it's
Yes.
like I'm here, like, can I give you like here's like a towel, here's like a little spritz. It's like something, and it's like
Hmm.
and it's this energy of like handing someone something and they're like throwing it back at you when they're done. So it's like it's just like it's very active, where it's like they're actively using the resource that you might be offering. And so it seems like that's part of the dynamic where it's like she has had multiple lifetimes where it's like the theme of the lifetime is like enduring and being a model of strength. And to do that, to make that possible, like having someone on the sidelines that is like willing and able to resource you as is like available, not like, as much as you might want to give. There is so much more that you could offer to your mother as support, it seems like. And it's like you give what she's willing to take in the moment while things are still happening. So it's like we can't do a timeout and do like a whole like let me like use a Theragun on your legs and like roll out the muscles and like take a rest. It's like we can't do that. The game is still happening, but it's like I can hand you a bottle of water.
I
You
think that's very accurate. That I
Okay,
do play a very strong support role, and I'm constantly looking for what I can give. And not everything that I think I want to give is something that she needs or can use or wants to take.
that's
But there are places where the fit is good. And so that is very true. Yes.
and it feels like there's and that's like part of the like this feels like so endearing, and it's probably, a little bit annoying as a human, but as like a witness, it's like this like sweetness of like I would love to do more for you, and I know you're not going to take everything that I offer. So, but it's almost
Yes.
like
Yeah.
just let me do a little bit more, like just have one more sip, or just like
That is so true. Yes. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it.
just like no, I'm fine, like let me get back in the game.
We have had that conversation so many times. I'm like trying to take out the trash. She's like, but no, I want to do it. And I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Just let
Yeah.
me do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That is a recurring conversation. Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, and there's also like a naming, like in this example they've like in this illustration they've offered, it's like you're not on the field every time in every lifetime, but it's like she is. So it's like you can't do it for her. You can't play the game for her. You can't take her, yeah, almost like her mission on for her, but you
Hmm.
can be there to support. And like there's a witnessing that happens where it's like you're watching what she's doing. So it's like you're watching, and that's part of her gift to you is like she's modeling something
Hmm.
and you're witnessing. And that's part of your gift to her is like you are not like in this illustration of the, soccer game. It's like you're not on your phone while the game is happening and just handing water. It's like you're watching the game and you're
Okay.
paying attention. And so it seems like that's something that you offer her that actually fulfills a huge piece of her purpose is like she's not doing this in vain for no one. It's like she's doing everything she's doing to be an embodied example of strength and overcoming things.
Hmm.
And so it's like, yeah, by you like attentively witnessing, you're giving something to her in the process of also receiving something from her. So it's like this beautiful reciprocal relationship in that.
Hmm.
And it seems like there's a little bit more too. So let me see.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. It seems like that's kind of like one way to illustrate the nature of the soul relationship in like recent lifetimes, like what has happened. And um, And it seems like there's something else that's happening in this lifetime too, where it's something that you're offering to her. It's like she's been an example of what it looks like to overcome something, to really endure something difficult and to still like be okay and be so resilient and strong and to like really take it. And like this word endure is like so present because it's not like it's almost like there's not like a softness at the end of it. It's like a long enduring process. It's like I am in pain still, even after it's over. It's like the pain is still there and I'm still enduring the pain. And and it seems like something that you're offering her, especially in this season and like in recent years and like going forward, it seems like this is stronger in this like season of your life, is that you're teaching her that it's okay to not have to endure everything. And that's something that you're modeling for her, where it's like you are so strong and I am so strong, and you can still like opt out of some stuff where it's, and that is something that's like really unfamiliar to her soul. And it seems like that's almost like that's a very new thing for her spirit to kind of like, it's like almost confusing. Where it's like,
You have nailed it.
okay,
It's like
okay,
rest. What is this thing of which you
why? Like,
speak? Sitting
why?
down, have
Yeah,
relaxing, having fun, chilling out. You are absolutely correct. Yes.
okay.
Yes. That is really what's happening.
Yeah. And yeah, there is like a confusion around it of like, yeah, but why would we do that? Why are you doing that? And it might even come across like, why are you doing that? And it might even sound like critical or like a judgmental, but it's like in one way, it's like if you change the tone of that, it's like actually confused curiosity of like, but like why I actually don't understand why we would rest. Can you explain that to me? But
Yes, that is
it
absolutely, yes, that is, you have
okay.
nailed it completely. Yes, 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 yes.
It's like genuinely like unfathomable. Like I don't know why
Mhm.
we would do that.
You are
Especially
absolutely correct.
I love that that's resonating.
Yep, really
Um,
strong.
and it seems like that's present partly because she has endured for lifetimes like such hardship, like such intense stuff that it's like when something isn't actively terrible, it already feels like rest. It's like, oh, what a relief. Like neutral is amazing. So like why would we rest on top of that? Like this is already
Yep,
great.
I am resonating really hard with that. That is really true.
Okay. And so it seems like that's something that's a really strong thing that
Mhm.
you're modeling for her that she has like really never experienced directly, but she also hasn't seen a lot of. So it's like she's a model for so many people of endurance and strength, and you are getting to like model what rest and like caring of the spirit and caring of the human's capacity can look like. Like, we
Mhm.
have to just say, yes, I can endure it just because we can. Just because I know I'm capable, I can just opt out. And that like opting out piece is so foreign to her spirit. It seems like that's very new stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm also really curious. It is in this kind of relationship, it is also sometimes hard to hold distinct boundaries, and it's easy for enmeshment to happen. And I feel like there are some lessons there too. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. I'm curious, like, what you specifically mean around enmeshment. Like, how do
Okay.
you understand that word?
All right. So I'm thinking about the psychological use of the word. So sometimes it is a challenge for me to know where I end and she begins. Like sometimes it's hard for me to distinguish between, okay, this is my experience and this is her experience. And she
Yeah.
can have her experience and I can have my experience. And it's okay if our experiences are different. And I don't have to fix everything. Some of what she is choosing to do is fulfilling for her. And I can let her do it without trying to lift the burden or make it easier, right? And just it's I just think that I'm thinking of enmeshment in that psychological term where literally sometimes the people involved have trouble. Wait, is this my feeling or is this my mom's
Yeah.
feeling? And
Okay.
vice versa. And like what pieces of work and existence belong to her and what belong to me? Where's the distinct and healthy autonomous line? That
Okay.
is what I'm thinking.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, let me see what's here around that. Okay. So it seems like this question, they can respond to it kind of broadly because it also seems like it's specific in certain instances where it's like depending on what's occurring in the moment, like it will feel different. And so what they can do is offer like things to look for as like signals that that might be happening. Would that be
Sure, go ahead. Absolutely.
okay? Yeah, so it seems like um yeah, kind of like knowing that you both like model different ways of being to each other, and that's part of your purpose, and that's part of why you incarnated together was to like teach those things and show those things to each other, like, hey, this is available. with that in your awareness, it's like in moments where it feels like you feel the like spike of like, oh, just let me like just take one more like sip, like take one more sip, or like let me just do this one thing, where it feels like it's more than like just a prickle, where it feels like there's something urgent, like I need this, and there's like it gets almost like it gets pretty charged, where it's like, oh my God, like I need you to do this, or it's like it's stressful for you. It's like that's a signal to kind of like take a breath and take a step back of like, okay, is this actually, do I actually just need it to be easier for her because it's hard to watch her struggle with this thing that I know I could make easier for her?
Mhm.
And something that they're saying is like, it might be helpful to remember, as odd as this might sound, and if this doesn't resonate, it's okay, but it's like her spirit is really comfortable with things being hard. So it's like,
Oh no, I get it.
yeah, so it's
Yes.
like the process of like doing what's easier is actually so much harder for her than
Than
just
doing what's hard.
doing
Okay.
the struggling thing. Like that is familiar. So it's like there's like an invitation to like, yeah, part of your like service to her, your teaching to her is to show that you can like it's okay for things to be easier. And when it feels like you're really just like you're having to struggle to get her to accept the easier thing, that's where you can just take a step back because
That's
it's
good. That's really helpful.
okay.
Yes, that really helps. I'd like to know if there's anything else I can do to, if they want to offer any suggestions or advice. I want to make sure that I do everything I can that is supportive of both her and me that we need to do while I'm incarnated and she's incarnated. And if there's anything else that I'm missing or not seeing that would be fruitful to address, that I am able to address and that is in my bailiwick, I would like to do that.
Great.
What am I missing?
Okay, let's ask, what are you missing, if anything? Okay, so something that they're noting is that in one of these things that you're here to teach her, right? It's like, oh, like ease is okay. Like ease is available and it's okay to choose that sometimes. Or like choose it when it's available and like good. It's like you can choose it every time it's available and helpful. Um, that teaching, the way that you convey it isn't by creating ease for her. That's one piece of it. But
Oh,
the primary way you do that is by modeling it in your own life. So,
that is such a helpful recommendation. That is
and
really helpful. Okay, keep going.
okay. Yeah, it's like that is a hard one to do in practice. It's like the mind can perhaps wrap its head around it, but it's like it's really hard to remember that in the moment because it is painful to watch someone you care about choose to do things the hard way every time for a
Got it.
lifetime, right? It's like that's her way of doing it, and she's stubborn, and we love her for that, and she's so strong, and we admire her. And it's like, can you just let me help you? Right? It can be exasperating and exhausting. And so, what they're saying in those moments where it feels like she's not listening or she's not letting me help her, or like, gosh, it could be so much easier. Remembering that you doing that for yourself is how your soul transmits it to her.
Extremely, extremely useful information. Thank you.
Great. And it seems like there's a little bit more around this. Hmm. Yeah, it's like yeah, just remembering like her soul is like again, brand new, like a brand new concept. So like her implementing that idea in her life is actually phase two. Phase one is just knowing that it exists, and that happens by witnessing someone else do it. So it's like this is the first time her soul is even seeing that that's available in a long time, if ever. So it's like it's amazing. Like anytime you can get her to accept any amount of ease, that's already advanced.
Love
So
it.
just like
Okay.
letting her
Love
see
it.
it is that's all you really have to do.
Oh, that is
And
so
the rest is
helpful.
like extra credit if she's willing to take it.
Awesome. 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 So helpful.
Great.
Is there anything else they want to tell me about my relationship with my mother?
Let me see. Yeah, it seems like both both of you have like been doing what you agreed to do this whole time. It's like it has unfolded, it's been unfolding, it's continuing to, and you're in this like rich season of like reciprocating these like
Yes.
lessons. You're modeling really beautifully for each other.
Hmm.
And it's been occurring all along. And it seems like a first really intense phase of your life was mostly like witnessing her struggle and learning about that and almost like feeling the history of that. And now it's like you've acclimated to witnessing her, and now you're more able to like model even more for her. And even that history of like watching that has inspired and like fortified your ability to choose ease because you've seen what it looks like to just choose the difficult way for a lifetime, every time for a lifetime. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like
Awesome.
it's happening. You're doing good.
Yay. Thank you. That was really helpful. And it speaks to exactly what we're doing right now.
Great. Great. Glad.
I'd like to shift my attention to my brother.
Yeah.
Um, I want to preface this with the context of I mean, actually, everybody kind of knows being in that part of your life where you're trying to support parents and you're also trying to raise kids and you're working like mad and your spouse is working like mad. I mean, in this culture, that is the hardest time for many people. I'm not going to say equivocally. Everybody has individual experiences and everybody's childhood is different. So I'm not going to say, but in general, I have noted that, and it has been recognized on a wider basis that that time period, when you're still raising your kids, you're starting to care for your parents, and both spouses are working, is incredibly challenging in this culture.
Yeah.
And I am a little older than my brother, so I'm kind of past the co-occurrence of all of those hard things at times. And I'm watching my brother, and he is right in the middle of that time. And I want to know what I can do to support him and help him. So that's my number one question. And my number two question is, what is our soul relationship like, and what are we here to do with each other? And how can I do it better?
Okay. Great. Great. Yeah, let me sit with that. Thank you for sharing that with me. Okay. So there was this question of like, how can you support him? And then like, what's the soul relationship? And like, how can you tend to that soul relationship better, right? Did I get those three
That
pieces?
you late. Yep. That's it. That's the core of
Okay.
those questions.
Great. Yeah, it seems like they'd like to start with the soul relationship piece first. Is that okay?
Great. That's great.
Okay. So it seems like there's, yeah, like soul friendship here, where it's like your souls are friends and they tend to get along. I don't know if this is true in this lifetime or not, but yeah, and there's like a pleasantness. It's like enjoying each other's company at a soul level. Does that feel
Yes.
true?
That
Okay.
feels very resonant to me. There's
Okay.
a dear love and caring for each other, lots of tenderness. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like there's like just the pleasure like of being together. It's like that's one of the pleasures
Mhm.
of life is to be in each other's company. And it also seems like, and as far as the family dynamic goes, it's like you and your mom have incarnated multiple times together, and he has too. But it seems like you and your mom have like been cycling together multiple times, and he kind of like can move in and out. So it's like he has some lifetimes where he's like hanging out with other folks doing other things, and then there's some where he's like in the family dynamic with you also. So it seems like you've been siblings before, and you've been siblings with your mother in this lifetime, in other lifetimes too. So it's like there's a familiarity there.
Mhm.
And yeah, it seems like there's in this kind of like rhythm that happens where it's like he's almost like leaving and coming back. It's almost like going uh away for a weekend and then coming back. Um It's, but on a soul level, like in terms of lifetimes, where it's like when he comes back, it's like he's tired. So it's like there's like an element of like rest and recovery in the lifetimes that he knows you. And it's like he likes to be your sibling in the moments where he needs rest and like almost like someone to just like have like to lean on and like literally put his head on their shoulder. And so he can like take a breath. And it's almost like this imagery of like if someone was like off like I don't know, doing like a really intense camping trip or something, or like really like or going on an intense like work retreat and it's almost like they've been running. It's like they were running through the airport, they were like totally packed schedule the whole time, and then they're running to the airport to get back, and then it's like they can finally like catch their breath like when you're together. And so that's kind of like the vibe. And so it seems like this dynamic that you've just described, is like it's not a new one, and it seems like you tend to enjoy being the older sibling, so you can be a little bit more resourced for him to like be a soft landing for him. And so yeah, so essentially it's like there's nothing new about this. It's like this is a very familiar dynamic that y'all are in, especially in this season. Like he's doing a lot and you want to be there for him. And it seems like when he's in the thick of things, like in a busy season like he is right now, because that's a lot. That is a lot. Everything you described, it's like multiple roles to play simultaneously for a long
Exactly.
season. So it's almost like in the busyness, it's like he might have time to like glance at you. And it's like in those moments you can be like giving him a thumbs up where it's like, it's okay. So it's almost like his soul is like used to like looking to you to just check like, am I okay? Because it's almost like I'm so busy I can't even sense if I'm
That
okay.
is so true. Yes.
Okay. So it's like that's something that it's like that like tiny little signal, like you're okay, just reminding like you're okay, you're doing good, you're okay. That goes so deep. That's like so medicinal for him because it's like I am so busy shifting between being a son, being a father, being a husband, being like an employee. Like I have to do all these things multiple times throughout the day and I'm shifting between these identities that it's like I don't even know what's happening. Like it's such a blur right now. But if I can just
Yes.
check it and be like, because since I can't sense really what's going on, it's like you get to be like, it's like, yeah, I can see it from far away and it's not a blur to you. So it's like, yeah, you're doing good. Keep
I
going.
I think that's going on for both my brother and his wife, that they're just in part of the busiest season of a modern middle class person's life. So yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it seems like what your keepers are offering you is don't underestimate like just the power of like a you're doing great text or just like a short phone call of like even just letting him like tell you about like the crazy thing that happened. It's almost like he's looking for like something to bounce it off of. Like
Okay.
it's like moving so fast, it's hard to like keep up with reality almost, where it's like, but if he can have someone to say like this is what just happened, and you can be like, wow, that's a lot. You're doing good. It's like, okay, that really occurred, and I can like keep going. Where it's like, yeah, it's almost like kind of sounding board, but in a different way where it's like I almost need to just touch something solid to make sure I'm still here and I'm existing as a solid person and not just this like flash of like lightning that's just like moving around and is so like jumbled. So it's like very anchoring to just have someone to say like this is what occurred, who's not in it with him, where it's like that's what happened. And you can be like, yes, that did happen. Good job. Is that making sense?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
Okay.
Okay.
This
Is
feels
there
like
any? Mhm.
simple. Yeah, it feels like a simple, straightforward kind of thing where it's like it's as simple as just being like just there, there to listen and encourage.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and
Yeah,
I'm going to talk about my lessons.
great.
And I feel like what I'm working on right now is establishing greater sovereignty, setting healthy boundaries, because I'm a Cancer moon type of person that's like a super nurturer. And I feel like I need to set strong, clear boundaries just as a practice that I haven't done most of my life. And I need to really take sovereignty over my life. That
Mm,
seems to be a huge focus
great.
for the last year and this year. And so I'd like any feedback about that, any pointers about that. And I'd really like to create an internal, very stable, secure sense of self I'd like to be able to say yes and no consciously and with ease, depending on what is best for me. I'd like to have great boundaries. I'd like to live my life really consciously, and I'd like to increase my inner sense of stability and sovereignty.
Okay. Now let me ask about that. I'm curious if there's like if you could distill that down into a question, what might the first question be? Because it seems like there's a piece around sovereignty, around
How am
boundaries.
I doing there? And how can I even, um, how am I doing in my progress? And how can I do even better?
Great. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, there's kind of this like yeah, like nodding and like sighing where it's like we know you're a super nurturer and it's like that's been so evident even in this conversation of how you show up for your mom and the lessons you've been like agreed to offer her and teach her and how you support your brother too and how that's been in lifetime. So it's like yeah, that super nurture quality is very present. And yeah, there's almost an acknowledgement like this doesn't come easily to you because it's just like the compassion is so alive and like big. So, yeah, that's like the first thing that's present is just an acknowledgement that this is yeah, this it's taking work like and you've been devoting yourself to cultivating boundaries and to like returning, like stepping back into that sovereignty. Almost it almost feels like stepping back inside yourself and not like letting your
That is
heart leap outside you. It's like let's
that is absolutely correct. Yes.
yeah, so there's just yeah, some like acknowledgement and validation around that. But yeah, let me see what else is here. There's more around this. Yeah, so it seems like something that they're just wanting to remind you of, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but it seems like as it's relevant to the cultivation of boundaries, is like remembering that, yeah, like it's very true that a big part of how you serve the people you're connected to is like being someone that offers resource, right? It's like you are resourcing these people in the form of encouragement or a water bottle or whatever it is, right? It's like you want to help. And the way that that like resource actually like comes out of you is by like being, it has to be in you first to
Yes.
pour out of you. And
Yes.
so they're saying that like boundaries are like the prerequisite part of your service, actually, because if there's nothing in there, like there's no water in the water bottle. So it's like it's useless. And so and this is like not new information and it seems like there's more around this too. So yeah, they're almost saying like seeing that as like, yeah, step zero of how you serve other people is helpful. And when it feels hard to do it, knowing that this is actually in service to other people might be easier to like give you the fortification to hold the boundary strongly.
True.
It's like I'm doing this for you as much as I'm doing it for myself. And really, it's like you're doing it for them more than you're doing it for yourself because it would be easier for you to dissolve the boundary and just be like, here, take from this. I'll like, if the cup isn't empty, I will give you my spleen. I'll give you whatever I have. It's like anything else, like, yeah. But it's like they don't want your spleen, right? It's like they want like the support you can offer. They don't want to take what's essential to you out of you because that doesn't help them either.
Yes.
And that's not
Yes.
what they're looking for. So it's like giving from that overgiving place is detrimental to you, of course, but it's also like, why are you handing me your spleen? Like, I didn't want that. Like, that's gross. So it's
That's
like, thanks for
fabulous.
doing
Good.
that.
That's
Yeah.
fabulous. Yeah.
So it's like, it really is. It's not just this like cute thing to say, like, you can't give from an empty cup. It's like, if your cup is empty, you will inevitably hand them your spleen, and no one
Mhm.
wants that. So, yeah, it's like just remembering that and acknowledging, it seems like there's something powerful in acknowledging like, yeah, you would absolutely dissolve that boundary because that's what's easier for you. And like the harder thing is to hold it, but like remembering that like that really is step zero of the service. It's not like, oh, I've been serving people, I'm going to serve myself now by having this boundary. It's like, that's how I keep serving other people is by having a boundary.
That's really smart because I'm will listen to that more than Yeah,
That's what it seems
it's
like.
true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. So I'd like to pivot now, and if I had to describe my own understanding of my mission here, I think one of the primary things, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm a diviner, spent over 40 years creating my own divination method on top of uh, some work done by very fine diviners and deck creators. So I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here, but I've created my own approach and method that offers very detailed guidance, overviews of people's lives. And I've been a university professor, and so I'm a teacher and a coach. Um, and I just like to say, though, that I think if we were to distill down what it is that I do, is I'm a force amplifier for other people. You know, whatever they're doing, I come in and help them step it up. And um, it's very important to me to do an absolutely stellar job in my mission in this incarnation. And I think that's why I chose to incarnate now during what I consider to be critical times, pivotal times, and troubled times that are sort of if I were to describe human existence right now as a house, this is the foyer to the house in which we take the actions as a species that decide what kind of house it's going to be.
Mm,
Is it going to be a really nice, safe, secure house with lots of room for everyone, with the resources everybody needs? Or is it going to be kind of dangerous with stairs with inadequate banisters, nails that stick up from those stairs, and lots of places where you could fall and trip? We're in the foyer now.
yeah.
And so I feel like I'm working with thousands and thousands of other people to try to make sure that we make choices for a safe, healthy, and welcoming house for everyone, not just humans, everybody. Um, and I guess if I were to formulate a question, it would be the question I always ask: how can I do this even better? How am I
Hmm.
doing? How can I do it better? What am I missing so that I can be even stronger as a coach, teacher, diviner, as a healer? It's here to plant seeds for the next few generations of people.
Hmm.
What can
Okay.
I do that I'm not already doing?
It's a great question. Let me see what's there on this. So it seems like one thing that you already do that they're like, good job, keep it up. Something that helps you be as effective as possible, because it seems like that's something you value is like being as effective. And like
Oh,
you want to
very
do it
much.
well, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like something that you are already doing that they would like encourage you to keep doing is being discerning about who you work with. And
Hmm.
you've expressed that to me before, where it's like that's something that you do. And it seems like that is definitely like that's gonna get more important as we go forward because it will seem like there's so many people to help, but it's like the more discerning you can be, the more effective you can be. Where it's like there, yes, there are gonna be lots of folks that could benefit from your work, but not everyone will be like able to receive it as deeply as
Correct.
everyone else. And that's
Right.
not to say anything about the people that work with you or don't work with you or whatever. It's just like it'll be like a really like yeah, beautiful fit for some folks and it'll be like a good fit for others. And so they're saying like go where it can be where you can sense that your work will be received really deeply so it can be as effective as possible. So it's like there's there's only so much you can do on your part. If you offer the same quality of work to like different people, some people will take it in at a different layer and level than other people can. And that's not, you know, saying anything bad about anyone. It's just like that's just how it is, where it's like people receive things differently depending on the timing and all kinds of stuff and who it's coming from and how it's said and things like that. So it's like that discernment is really serving you and your effectiveness. If that's something that you value, then continue to be discerning. Yeah, and there's more around this too. Yeah, so it seems like there's like if they could describe like the process of your work, it's like reaching your hands into something, like getting them really into the dirt. And then there's like this moment of release. And it seems like the moment of release after the deep work is done, that's something that can be hard because it's like you invest yourself so deeply in the people that you work with, where it's like it can be hard to let go of the results after you've done everything you can. And that piece is something that they're saying like it's hard and it's like the only thing you can do is continue to just like be aware of that and just being aware that it is hard and like it's probably going to feel painful to let go once you've like totally like gotten your hands dirty in someone else's life like trying to help them. But then it's like that moment of like releasing and letting yourself be detached from what they do and it's almost uh like yeah, letting go. It's like I've given them some tools and some new perspectives and then what they do with this from this point is up to them. That part is hard. And they're saying, but that is like the point of like reverence, like deep devotional reverence to their free will, where it's like,
Oh, this is so good because this is a huge struggle. This is so good. This is exactly what I need to hear. Keep going.
okay, okay, I'm glad it's resonating. Yeah, but it's like maybe remembering that that's what that moment of release is. It's like bowing to their free will.
I love that.
So beautiful. And
I'm
it's,
so taking that in.
yeah, and just like take a minute with that.
Mm, that's
Mm,
really good. I agree. I absolutely agree that that is my next step. Give it over to them truly and
yeah.
then move ahead. Trust that
And
they'll
it's
take what
hard.
it is.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah. It is. And it's like, but that's the point where it's like you are actually that moment where you let it go is where you actually give them the gift
You're
that you
right.
of your work. But it's like other than that, you're it's like you're holding your gift and tagging along with them. But at
You're
the moment
right.
you let it go, they are now holding what you've offered them. And then
You're right.
you're not holding it anymore, which is nice.
That is so good.
So that's the moment that like the gift of the work that you do transfers to them.
Okay, that alone was worth this entire session. Thank you.
So
Very important. Okay, so my final question really is what haven't I asked that I need to know?
great question. Yeah, I'll see if there's any last messages for you for this moment, and then we can close. Yeah, it seems like the main thing that they're offering you is like you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And there's almost something in there about like remembering to like take take moments to enjoy a deep breath now and then. Or it's not just like, because it seems like that's something you do and you have practices for resourcing yourself.
Yeah,
But it's like, there's a difference between doing it diligently as a practice and like remembering, even in the midst of the practice, like, oh, I like this and this feels good. So it's like, oh, can you savor the like self-resourcing practices that you have a little bit more, where it's like, just, yeah, like enjoy it. There, it's almost like smile as you take a deep breath and it like will feel even better because it does feel good. Or rather it's like notice that you are smiling when you do it. It's like,
that's
oh yeah,
great.
I'm happy. This feels good.
That's great. Mina, thank you so much. This was a really lovely session. The take homes are really important to me. I think the two gems that I'm distilling to take with me are let my mother do things her own way and respect it and find ways to model ease and enjoy that in my own life.
Mm.
And the second one is the greatest gift, the moment of finalizing the gift I give in my work is when I let go. I'm very grateful to have been able to work with you today, and I so appreciate the wisdom you have shared and what you have offered here. Thank you. And thank you also to the keepers of the records. Thank you so much for all you have given through Mina.
Mm. Okay, so that concludes the Akashic reading, one of the readings that I did for Sabrina. And now we will move into the post-reading chat where we talk more about our exchange and how everything landed and a lot more about Sabrina's work. Here we go. Sabrina, my dear, we had the privilege of getting to do an exchange with each other, and I'm bursting to talk about it. I feel like we've been sitting on this for weeks. It's been several weeks since I read for you the first time, and then it's been a little bit. since the first reading you did for me and the second one, which was so juicy. I can't wait to talk about it. So, yeah, I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. Which one do you want to talk about first?
The first thing I want to talk about is this interesting contrast between our methods and yet this feeling of overlap I have with you that I think in a lot of ways you sort of like I'm a professor, social scientist, diviner witch. Okay. So that's two very different worlds, social science, anthropology researcher, and spiritual practitioner. Diviner guide. And I've been doing them for most of my life. Like I'm now 45 years as a tarot reader. And yet, in meeting you, I felt such a kinship. Like you act like a researcher, you take notes, you transcribe, you ask questions like an anthropologist. And I just feel such a kinship yet there. And yet, our styles of reading are so different. That's really interesting to me. I'd never had an Akashic reading before. And I'm glad I had two with you because I could sort of feel and see the methods. So I guess I want to give this overview of the delight of the ways we overlap and the ways we are different. So I'm going to toss the ball back to you now, and you can give me like your overview or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so tickled by that. Yeah, it felt I think just upon meeting you, I was drawn to you. I attended that like gorgeous weekend retreat that you did with one of my dear friends, Michaela, and I was also really drawn to how you phrased the questions. I think, and that's what made me like want to chat with you was I was like, I need to tell this woman how amazing her questions were because I have such an affinity for like wordsmithing the questions, and I feel like there's so much um, potential for empowerment in how we phrase the questions that we ask, you know? It can really our intentions can be captured in the questions we ask, and it can unfold really differently. And question asking, the art of question asking is so at the heart of what I do.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think that was something I noticed right away was like, ooh, this girl has good questions. And and yeah, it was so yeah, I feel that for sure. And then as we, had the pleasure of connecting, that like sense of kinship and overlap in I feel like the language we I don't know if it's sometimes it's not necessarily the exact words, but I think there's an undercurrent that's similar. Um, yeah, that really resonated with me. But yeah, the more I've had the joy of connecting with you, that like sense of kinship just is more and more apparent.
There's one thing I think we really do share that's super practical. When you have a document completely prepped before people get readings with you, where you're like, okay, these are the kinds of questions that yield great results. These are the kinds of questions that are less useful, and you orient your person beforehand. I have something similar that I sometimes share, but I feel like a huge part of my role as a diviner, which is different for me than a tarot reader, and we can talk about that later. But as a diviner, a huge piece of what I do is both encouraging people to ask the questions that are on their mind, but then encouraging them to go a little deeper and to ask deeper and better questions that will get them the kind of practical, detailed answers that can really guide them into reshaping their future. And I feel like, on a very concrete level, that's something we share. Helping our people, guiding our tribe and the people we sit down with, we consult with, guiding them to absolutely squeeze every bit of juice from that reading by guiding them as to the kinds and specific wording of the questions they ask when they're open to it.
I think that's such an interesting way of reflecting on that. I don't know if I necessarily consciously think of it that way, but I do like I think when folks come to me for readings, I always say just ask the question how you want to ask it. And if if we need to massage the question, or if sometimes it's so funny, the records will be like, do you want to ask it this way? Like, they'll give
Yeah.
suggestions, they'll kind of guide you, they'll give you hints, and sometimes the hints are like, ask this question, and it's not a hint, it's just very direct. But I think that was something I was hearing in you where it's like I always love to just not put the burden of, finessing the question on the person where it's like, ask what you want to ask. And, if I'm feeling potential or if I'm feeling potential in the records of like, there's a little bit more richness available if we word it a bit differently, if we go like just leaning, it's just like it's very gentle touches, I feel like. Um, then yeah, that I'll offer that. But yeah, and I feel that from you too. I think you have it of like, yeah, you really just want to get every drop out of this. That's something I really cherish in you is like your
Oh, yeah.
like wanting to be like as efficient and effective as possible and offer as much value as you can. I feel like that's super apparent in how you read for folks.
Absolutely. My whole goal is, well, so the difference for me between a reader, a tarot reader, and a diviner, they can both help people. They can both do wonderful things for people. But for me, a tarot reader is someone often in maybe the first 10 or 15 years of their work. Sometimes it's a lot shorter, where their focus as they sit down is, I want to be completely accurate and focus on getting the exact, what's here exactly for the person. I think a diviner goes past that. A diviner's like, okay, I did that 20 years ago. I got it. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I'm super comfortable with my tools. At this point now, I'm sitting down here to help the person in front of me align with spirit. And I am here to not only answer the questions they ask, but I'm here to answer the questions they don't even know they're asking. And I'm here to direct them to where in the future of least resistance, which is what I call the future that they're building with their beliefs and their behavior patterns and their habits. My goal is to show them that overview of the past, where they are right now, the deeper roots of it, and the future they are creating with an eye to, okay, where in this process can I say, look, that's a place you can pivot. Do you want to build that? Are you sure? Do you want something better? And sort of to gently direct them to that place. So I think maybe a way that I capture it in my head is a diviner helps answer the questions people don't even know they're asking.
hmm That's a beautiful distinction, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think you do that really beautifully. And I think that even came up in one of the readings that I did for you, where it was like that essence of like, yeah, kind of being tending to the questions that people don't know they have. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a gift you have for sure.
Thank you so much. Sitting down with you was so interesting. I've never had an Akashic reading before. And there's a big difference in our formats. I use the round tarot cards, which are unbelievably specific. Unlike the rectangular cards, the round cards can literally, I can look at it and say, all right, is this happening inside of you or outside of you? Like they get really specific. And instead of just seeing an upright and a reverse, I see a total of 8 different, what I call expressions, and each one changes the meaning of the card. And I know that sounds overwhelming and difficult, but once you sit down to learn, it's not nearly as bad as you think. But it's really super specific. My whole method relies on very detailed, very specific, showing people exactly what's going on so they can attend to shifting. Your method is okay, lay out your questions. I'm going to go consult the records. I'm going to tell you what's most relevant, and I'm going to go for the powerful overview within which will be the insight you need. And that was the experience I had with you. So even though I am super dive deep, super specific, where have you been? Where are you? Where are you going? What are you building? How do you change it? You were like, all right, I got the records, ask your question. And I ask my question, and you do gently guide. And as you answered, one of the things that was so powerful for me is I talked about my family. I asked about my relationship with my mom and my brother and how things were going, because a huge part of my life right now, what really matters to me is the well being of my mom. and my brother and my sister-in-law and my brother's kids. So family's really important. And you offered me an insight that blew my mind. It was absolutely accurate. I never would have thought of it in 100 years on my own. And when I thought about it, like I remember just sitting there receiving it and my eyes just opening to the size of dinner plates. When you said, when I was asking about the relationship between my soul and my mother's soul and the contract, the kind of contracts we had with each other, what we were doing. And you're like, well, your mother's really strong and she's really a strong, powerful soul. And as a mark of her strength, a sign of her strength is that not only is she not afraid to do things the hard way, it is a mark of pride to do things in some of the most challenging ways. And part of what you have to offer her is to show her that there are easier paths to walk. And you shouldn't be trying to stop her, okay? Like, do not be telling her, do this the easy way. Your job is just to show her there are other possibilities. And then it is her decision of what she wants to do. So don't try to change her. You know, like that Billy Joel song. Don't go trying to change her, mom. You love her like she is. And just understand. She is powerful, she is resilient, and she's used to doing things the hard way and doing them well. And what you can do is you can show her here's a maybe not a faster path, but an easier one, so that she can be like, oh, there are options to do this that do not require profound and tremendous internal force. Huh. And you said, now look, if you just, your only job is to show and to support. And sometimes she may make the decision to take the easier path, and that's new for her. So don't try to push or force. Accept and love her, and just know this is her pattern and this is yours. This is her path, and this is what you have to offer. And just showing is more than enough and is your job. And there are so many examples of this in our relationship, even to the fact that, she's a senior, she lives on her own. She functions really well. She's really strong. I see her going out to water all her flowers and hauling around the trash. And I'm like leaping up, going, oh God, my mom shouldn't have to do that. And she's like, this is how I get my exercise. Would you kindly sit down? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's not my job. Oh, okay. So for me, I literally made a shift in my head that has changed
Oh.
my approach. Like now, like I'm not trying to fix her problems for her the way I did before in kind of a dysfunctional way. I'm like, you know what? My mom's vastly competent and she can totally do this. And when she asks me, I will help. And I'm also going to believe in her ability to make her own decisions and be a powerful adult. And that is a huge shift. And it causes me to be more sane and it causes her to be more sane and less bothered by me.
Oh my gosh, that's really powerful. I'm really touched that that had such a like tangible impact on what sounds like a tangible impact. Like it sounds like you are being differently with her.
Totally,
Wow.
totally. I can hear the sigh of relief from Stillwater, Oklahoma. She's like, oh, thank God. I love you
I
so bad.
felt it. Yeah, I felt that relief. It was like, whoa, it feels like there's like the wave like settled and there's space and like width and yeah, space to breathe there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I do want to name I feel like we have this like sweet, yeah, sense of kinship, but I don't know you. Like we just met very recently and I
Yep.
didn't know anything about your personal life
Nothing.
or really anything about you when I read for you. So that was I'm 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 glad and stunned myself that that resonated so much with you. That's really lovely.
So, what I didn't tell you too was that I have been doing my own work around codependence to try to set that down because it neither serves me nor the people I love. And so I didn't articulate that with you. I didn't talk to you about my mom or my relationship at all. And yet, that's exactly where your contacts in terms of the Akashic Records took me. Yeah, don't you be trying to fix everything. That's not your job. She doesn't even like it. Your job is to show another path. She will decide if and when she takes it. Sometimes it may be a good decision, sometimes it's not. None of your business. Go sit down. Take care of your own problems. So that was a huge and very pragmatic support to both my own work and to her well-being.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. And I'm so glad. Yeah, I could like be even just a witness in that experience, the records relating that to you.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
And you also commented, I wanted to know about the soul contract between me and my brother. I'm also maybe a little hovery over him sometimes when I there's no need to be. And you were like, he's a soul who incarnates with you and your mom periodically and does work. And then sometimes in other lifetimes he goes and does other things. And he is very fiercely independent. He's very in a lot of ways in terms of his thinking and his being. So that was useful to know too. That was
Mhm.
interesting and useful to know. Both of those things were very helpful for me and helpful in supporting me to reorient towards them in much healthier ways, which is what I try to do with my people is to come in and say, okay, here's the path you're building. Do
Mhm.
you like it? You don't like it? See this piece over here? You can change it. You want to explore how to do that? So you start from a very general place, and
Mhm.
yet you get to an opportunity for me to pivot. And I start from a very series of very specific places. My cards are very specific and
Yeah.
detailed, and also go ideally to a place where people can think about, do
Yeah.
I want to stay on this path? Do I want to speed something up? Do I want to slow it down? Do I want to shift completely?
Hmm.
At least ideally. I should just ask you about your experience.
Yeah, no, I think that is true. That certainly is true. And I'm like, ooh, that's such an interesting. I'm like, ooh, that's such a yeah, fascinating reflection of like I didn't yeah, I didn't think of it that way where it's like, of course, like the Akashic Records, it is a very broad view. And it can be like we can kind of almost like drip our way into like some like specific touch points that kind of like help bridge that like super broad bird's eye like multi-lifetime view of the records into like but today like in this moment with your relationship with in this body with this like incarnation of your mom it's like this is I don't know yeah so it is like it's a weird process of like going from like extremely vast into like a little drip of specificity that could be helpful in a, in a specific context. Yeah. Yeah. And your method. Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could gush about it forever. Okay. If you first, I'm like, people might not know that there are round tarot cards. So
I hear this
like,
all the time. People are like, what do you mean? What do you mean
yeah.
there are round tarot cards? What do you
So
mean they're different? What do you mean there are eight different expressions instead of just up
yeah.
and down? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a tarot person, or an oracle deck person, if you like to pull cards, you might be most familiar with, the rectangular cards. I've come across a couple of oracle decks that have round cards. But what is so powerful about Sabrina's method, it's the tarot. It's not just an oracle deck. Not that oracle decks are lesser or not as valuable, but it's this like storied, historied, the lineage of these like very potent, specific 78 tarot cards, and they are round. So I had not seen that, and what's lovely is like, just having a round card is nice. And I love collecting decks just because I love art and there's so many beautiful artistic decks. But what's fascinating is like, it's not just like, ooh, this is fun, it's round instead of rectangular. It's like you are able to use the roundness to like be more specific. And that's what you've been talking about, but I'd love to explain it a little bit for folks that might be like, what are you talking about? So if you've used tarot cards, you might, if you pull for yourself or any kind of card, it's like there might be two expressions where it's like you pull it, it's upright or reversed, right? So you might have heard of that. But with the round cards, it's you have 360 degrees of how that card looks when it's flipped over. So it's not just like two options of upright and reversed. It's where it's almost like the top of the card is like the clock hand. And so it's like where on the whole dial of this 360-degree circle or clock face is this thing pointing to? Where's the head? And so that's what she means of like there's eight different expressions. So you can think if, maybe a compass is actually a better way of thinking about it. So it's like if you're flipping the card over, it's like where is like it's like the compass needle. So it's like where's the compass needle pointing? Is it north? Is it east west? Is it south? Or is it, northeast? Is it northwest? Is it southeast? Is it southwest? So it's like those are the eight different kind of like orientations that she's touching into. And within those eight expressions, as she calls them, there's a lot of specific information that she can kind of tap into of like, this is how you're thinking about it. This is how, so it's not just like, here's this card. Are you feeling this energy? This might be how it's showing up. It's like she can see from the orientation of the card and how she flips it over, how it presents itself. Is it, inside you or outside you? Are you in your head about it or like not in your head about it? Are you overthinking or not overthinking? Conscious, unconscious. It's like there's all these different like axes of information that she can read and see super clearly and like very adeptly as soon as she flips over the card. So it's not just like, oh, we pulled the world card. It's like, oh, we pulled the world card and it's pointing this way. And so instead of just here's what the world card means, it's like here's how what the world card means and how it might apply, how you might be experiencing it. And so it's just like um the method of using like her unique method of using the round cards just helps her like cut right in to like this the very specific way you might be relating to this card or how this archetype that's represented in the card might be showing up in your life a little with more detail and richness and clarity than you might be able to get just from a rectangular card that's only showing you upright or reversed.
If you like, I can give a concrete example.
Yeah.
It's easier with an example. You mentioned the world. The world card in its upright form often appears when you are approaching the end of one phase of your life. And in its as an upright, the world indicates the successful completion of this phase, and often it's accompanied by some victories, wrapping things up. An example might be successfully retiring from a career and getting celebrated and taking pleasure in all the things you've done, maybe as a professor, the students you've mentored, the articles you've published, the classes you've developed, right? If it is reversed, it often means that there's a block or a problem. You're still approaching the end of something, but there are some issues or problems or blocks that need to be resolved for it to be a successful completion. So, in that case, there might be issues or problems. You might be hesitant to walk away. Maybe there's an unresolved issue, back with our former example, with a series of classes that you want to wrap up. You want to make sure other people can teach them when you're gone, something like that. But let's say that it's a round card. Let's say that the top where the Roman numeral is, if you're a Rider-Waite-Smith reader, let's say the top of that world card is more like maybe on the clock dial, it's more like at 2 o'clock, or maybe northeast, more toward the northeast. In that case, you're reveling in it, you're loving it, you're leaning into this transition, and you're like, woohoo! But if let's say it comes up more at 3 o'clock at top, you're really of two minds. And everybody can see anything tilted to the right is public. People can see it and know it. And if it comes up as three, it's kind of like sitting on the fence and you're like, oh my God. Half the time you're like, I'm so relieved. And half the times you're like, no, I can't go. What if the top of that card is more like around the 5 on the clock face? you are flailing. You are flailing. There are all these demands that have to be met from the outside world before you can actually wrap up and walk away. And you're utterly overwhelmed and you're just like throwing stuff at the wall. You don't have a plan. You're acting without a plan and you're flailing and other people can see it. So I gave you the example of the right half, which is yang, outer, public, action, responding to action. To the left, that's yin. So to the left, let's say the top of that world card is, I'm looking over at my clock, is more like at 10. You're holding back a little bit. You're like, okay, I'm approaching an end. I'm going to consider carefully before I act. This is sort of careful reflection, hesitation, or maybe a little lack of confidence. Let's say the top of that card is at 9. That means you're still flip-flopping about how you feel. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, but it's all private. Nobody can see it. It's inside of you. Let's say the top of that world card is between 7 and 8. Oh, you're in the rumination quadrant. Your mind is endlessly cycling through painful and agonizing thoughts about what could happen and all your fears, and yet you do nothing. But nobody knows but you and maybe one or two people. So imagine I'm doing a Celtic cross layout with 14 or more cards, and every single card I can see exactly where it lays. This is why I love round cards, and this is why I teach my class once a year to people who want to learn them. They are so specific. And when I lay it out in a Celtic cross, I can see the past, the closer past, the more distant past, the root, the present, and the future of least resistance that you're building. So I can literally come and say, so this is what's coming at you and what you're doing. How do you want to shift this? So now I probably spoke too long. That's really, really nerdy, super nerdy tarot. I'm just gonna let you talk about your experience now.
Yeah. Oh no, I loved that explanation. You're talking to the right person. I'm like, I could listen to you talk about that all day. Um, yeah, I think what was I hope that like makes it a little bit easier to understand for folks listening, like what we're talking about, where it's like these eight expressions. Um, and I think what I will say, it's like if none of that made sense and you're still like, what the F are you talking about? If you got
Yeah.
a reading from Sabrina, you don't have to know that stuff. She's reading for you. So what I think is nice, it's like if you're curious about that and want to learn more, she teaches classes, like yay, go look into her classes. They're amazing. And if you're like that, like 78 cards alone is a lot, and then times eight expressions of each. Like, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. You can just get a reading from her, and she knows how to do it, and you don't have to worry about, northeast, southwest, whatever the fuck, 9 o'clock. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, she will read it for you, and you just get to sit there and receive and be in conversation. You don't actually have to make sense of these different orientations, and she's with you and guiding you, and it's fine. So there's no barrier to entry if you're intrigued by this method and want to receive a reading. It's not like you have to understand it to receive it, just to be very clear. Um, but I think what was fascinating, I've never had a tarot reading from anyone of that like magnitude. My friends and I will like pull a card for each other now and then, which is also super lovely and very there's something like cute about that where it's like neither of us really know. It's like we're not super studied in the tarot, but it's like it's a sweet like exchange. I feel like there's a lot of connection available like when you just trade like little readings like that for folks. This was not like that. This was not a cute little reading. This was like an intense uh like very it felt huge, and the spread you do, it's not like, oh, here's three cards. It was like she was laying the cards out in all these like crazy directions. There were like so many different cards, and I was like, whoa, when I've used tarot cards for myself, I'm like that's a lot. That's a lot. That was more than what I've ever experienced, and it was it was mind-blowing. I couldn't believe how like precise every single card was. I think like I mean I love the tarot. I'm a fan of it, and I've definitely, when I pull for myself now and then just for I feel like I use tarot more for fun because I am an Akashic reader first and foremost. So it's like that's more just like, oh, like let me engage with a physical object and, whatever. It's fun and I like the art on the cards. So when I do that, it's like there are definitely times when I pull, I'm like, oh, that's dead on. But this was like, and there are times when I'm like, oh, I don't really know how this fits. And it might be because I'm not as studied. I don't know how it applies and whatever. But with you like pulling that many cards and every single one made perfect sense and the way you were explaining it. And it's very collaborative because it's like she'll pull the card, but then you're kind of providing context of like, she's saying, you know, I don't know, like we pulled this card, this is what it might be. Are you feel like what are you feeling like? And you're kind of being like, oh, this is how I think this would apply. And it's actually easy to offer the context in response to the card that she pulls because it's so precise. It's so
So
precise.
specific.
I
It's
know
like,
exactly what you're talking about. So it's like easy to connect. Like she'll offer you, like she'll pull a card, explain it, and then you're like, oh, yes, I know what you're talking about in my life. And then from that, you're kind of building this reading and picture together, which is really lovely. So it's like these cards are like mapping out this this story almost, and you're filling in all the details of how it relates to your life, which is really nice. So it's like it's very collaborative. It's very yeah, it's not like you're being talked at when sit with Sabrina. So it's really cool. And I think it I'm just like so fascinated with this method of the round cards because the imagery is so striking on the round cards. Like when you see it reversed or when you see it at a certain angle and then you're hearing Sabrina describe, what that might mean, how it might apply, like what her interpretation of that expression of the card is. I think that for me was something really fortifying because when I read, it's like we're not looking at anything, right? It's like it's just we're just talking and it's very kind of in the etheric psychic space. We're working in the imaginal space. What was weird was like, oh, this person is very specifically talking about stuff that resonates super deeply, and I'm looking at a physical thing she's holding, which there was something about it that felt hard to deny. Because it was like, I feel like it's easier to dismiss, like, if someone says something precise, it's like, well, they don't really know me. But it's like, she pulled that card. And it's like, that object is sitting there. And it was again and again. I was like, I
because
can't really
there's some
argue.
expressions that you get again and again. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, you have a pattern. Here is your pattern.
Yeah.
Bang. And I saw out of these 15 cards, you had seven of them in exactly the same tilt. So I can tell you right now, before I even look at them, that this is an issue. And if you're not prepared for that, it can kind of feel like I
Yeah.
resemble that mark, like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So I will say, like, if you want to receive a reading with Sabrina, which I totally, recommend her completely. She's so skilled and it's such a joy to sit with her. But if you do a reading with her, like drink some water and take a nap before you go in because
Oh, hell
it's
yeah.
an intense experience.
It's intense, and it's long,
Yeah.
Like I can do shorter readings. Like often I'll do shorter decision spreads. When people need to make a decision, I'll look at the short and long term most likely outcome of each option, and that can be shorter. And also if people just have a few quick questions, that can be shorter. But the deep dives where we look at the past, present,
Yeah.
and future, we look at your patterns, your habits, and what you're building going into the future right now and its most likely outcome. That's a good 90 minutes. And I audio tape it with Otter and I have it transcribed. And I love it when people take notes. I mean, I'm a next university professor, so of course I care about that. But you're not gonna, I tell people right at the beginning, you're not gonna be able to retain all this. And there will be action steps that you will get at the end and take home messages. But you will get a recording and you will get a transcript and you will need to re-listen. And I recommend 3 days or so after you get it 3 weeks or so after you get it and 3 months or so after you get it because it is a lot. And it's very helpful if I prepare people if they haven't worked with me before. Like you and I your reading was longer than most. We were at it for 3.5 hours because that's
Yeah.
what it took.
And
That's what
I'm
it took.
like, did people here? I'm like, it normally 90 minutes. Ours was like almost 4 hours long,
It
which
was.
I like held you hostage and like just made you keep going is what it felt like. I was like, I'm not done. We're not done.
Mhm. Yeah, I charge like by time, but I don't stop unless unless there is a hard reason to stop when we
Mhm.
have stuff one or the both of us have something to do. I stop when completion is reached. And for your particular reading, there was a lot Spirit wanted to say,
Yeah.
and you were willing to listen.
Mhm.
So every once in a while it goes that long. And I know right now there are people like, oh, hell no. And that's
Yeah.
okay. The truth is, the vast majority of people I read for are spiritual practitioners, teachers, healers, and many, many of them are tarot readers. And they come in and they're like, I'm here for the deep dive. I want to know where I've been, where I am, and I want to know what I'm building and where I need to shift.
Oh my gosh.
And the work is serious.
Yeah, yeah. So I will say I'll add an addendum. So it's like if you do a reading with Sabrina, especially the deep dive, drink water, take a nap, and like the main thing is like ask yourself, do you want to hear some true stuff? Because it's a clear mirror. Like these readings are clear mirrors and it's hard to deny. So it's like if you are not ready for like a very clear reflection to come at you, then this might not be the thing you want to do at this time. And I feel like that's totally okay. Where it's like because I feel like this type of reading has the potential to be really confronting and almost feel like a reckoning if you are not in a headspace to receive it. And even if you are, it might still be a little confronting because the cards are gonna, they will reflect very clearly to you. I feel like the tarot doesn't really have a problem calling you out on your shit. So,
Yeah.
so there, that vibe is there where it's like, and I don't know how to describe it, but it's something about like, for me, I'm like, oh, it's a physical object. Like, I can't pretend the card is not that card because I'm like, I'm looking at it. It's in her hand. Like, so it's like if I'm like, oh, I would love to deny that and delude myself, it's hard to argue with the physical object, you know? So there's something about that that was really lovely and really grounding for me. It felt fortifying for me. Um, because it almost like, makes you take it in a different way where it's like, uh you can't like slither out the side door and just be like, well, maybe that didn't happen and they don't know what they're talking about. It's like, I don't know, but that she did pull that card, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. So yeah, it was really remarkable. And for me, it was like I finished that and I was like, oh my gosh, that was like the reading of my dreams. It was so fun and it was so rich and so comprehensive. And I think that was something that I really enjoyed, and I'm so grateful, that we had the time to go as long as we did. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe how many hours we were sitting there, and both
You
of
were
us
you
just
were
like nerding
stalwart. You
out.
were strong. I was like, she's gonna bail. She's gonna bail. And you did not bail. You hung in there.
Uh, I'm like, I
Great.
can do that all day. I was like happy to be there. And yeah, it was almost like, oh, I've like, again, that like element of kinship. It was like, oh, she can hang for hours. I can hang for hours. Like, this is no problem. It was good. Because I was also worried. I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like disrespecting people's time like that. But I was like, are you okay? Like, are you good? And I was also really sick when we did this reading. So that was wild too. But um, yeah, that was hilarious. But I felt so energized doing it. It was like physically giving me energy because I was so excited to be there. So it was, yeah, hilarious. Um,
Can I ask you a
but
question?
yeah, yeah.
What was the most transformative take home for you from it?
Gosh, I know what it is. I've been thinking about it like every single day since the reading, and there were two cards that were almost like they were almost exactly reversed, and it was such a striking image. And it was those two reversed cards that felt very hard to deny. But I think for me, it was, I'm dancing around it a little bit. And if you want to name the cards, you can. But I feel like for me, like having those really striking, almost completely reversed cards, that felt undeniable. And yeah, let me think about this for a moment of how I want to word this. It was, there were two cards where it was like one was, it almost felt like acknowledgement that I was not seeking and validation that I was not seeking around some of the things that I've done over the last several years. Um, And that was, I think both of the things, like I wanted to deny that that was true. It was really hard to believe, but something about seeing that card reversed, it was like, that's what I mean. It's like it's undeniable because you can see exactly that orientation of it. And so there's not a lot of wiggle room there in your method's interpretation of it. So it was validating of the work I've done, even though I don't want to take that in. And so that has sat with me the whole time since you said it. And it's almost like it has forced me to reckon with that a little bit and be like, I guess I have done some stuff. And and then the other one was such a like potent reflection on some of the stuff that I struggle with the most that I'm in contact with daily, but it was captured really beautifully in the imagery of the card and how you spoke to it. And that has stayed with me too. And it was like one was like, this is where you are currently. And then this was like, this is what is calling for your attention. And I think like that like gentle calling of like this piece like wants to be looked at and tended to. For
Mhm.
me, it's like offered me permission to actually pay attention to that. And
Mhm.
it was almost like the, the what I call the keepers, right? It's like the records, the universe, the divine like is wanting you to pay attention to this.
Yes.
And it's not just me that wants that to do that, or it's not me that's like hesitant to look at that. It's like they are really wanting you to pay attention to this. It's worth paying attention to, even though I
Mhm.
might not want to. And so that was very striking to me as well. So it was I think, and really like the feelings, the take home feelings that like have stayed with me is like one was like it was just such a powerful reflection. It was deeply validating and it was also like very illuminating of like what might be to come and what might be worth paying attention to at this time if I want to reap a little bit of goodness from further work. So yeah, I think I talked about that in the most vague way possible, but if you want to describe it with more
No,
detail, you're
no,
totally welcome to.
I always respect the privacy of the individual. You can tell anybody you want about your reading, but I don't share those details. If you choose, great, but I don't do that. Every reading is private. Um, I am glad though. This I do feel validated. It's important to me to make sure when most of my readings are on Zoom and I need two cameras. And one of the cameras is the cards. And I talk about the cards and their tilt. You can't come out of a reading with me without learning a little bit about the round cards and how to read them because you're going to have repeating tilts in your reading. And I'm going to talk about that. And I usually ask people to pin that view of the cards if they're working on a computer so they can really see it. And it's better if they're on a computer or a tablet and then on a phone because on a phone it's really too hard to see the individual cards. And of course, people can also see the other camera's my face, so they can see me and they can see the cards. We can even shuffle together because they can direct how I shuffle and when I stop. But it's very important to me that people be able to see and hear exactly how I am getting. the description that I'm getting and exactly how I'm getting the interpretation. I want them to see it. And so for me, it's important to work with two cameras.
Yeah, I think that that was super powerful, and I'm glad that you did that. And I remember in the middle of the reading, one of the cameras went out, and I was like, I kind of need it back. I'm like, it was the camera that was pointed at the cards. I was like, I need to be able
Yep.
to see these because it's really striking. It's such a, I mean, it's a tarot reading, so it's like you want to be able to see the cards for sure. Yeah. I think that was something that surprised me was I wasn't expecting to connect with the imagery so much and like just being able to see the cards because it's like I don't know what these, mean. I hadn't seen that deck before, so it's like I'm looking at these cards for the first time and especially these round cards. So it's like even not knowing, what all the cards mean and never seeing the deck, it was just seeing the cards even if you don't know what they mean that like I was not expecting to connect with that so much and for that to have such an impact on me, but it does, which I think is remarkable where it's like if you genuinely have never even seen the deck or worked with the tarot, it is still powerful to like
Yeah.
see the cards and to see the repeated like oh like and that for me that was the biggest thing was like oh these two cards were almost completely reversed, which I was like whoa, that was really wild. Like, and so it's like you can see the patterns, and I think that's something that's really cool is like you are literally seeing visual patterns in the reading because I feel like, in the personal development, like kind of like inner work world, it's like we talk about patterns and like patterns that people have and stuff like that. But it's like with the cards, you're literally seeing a physical visual pattern. So it's like
Yeah.
it's literal, like it's literal pattern recognition, which is really funny. Yeah.
It is. It's literal pattern recognition. And, there's a big debate in tarot, or there has been in some between some different schools of tarot, where some people are like, tarot predicts the future. And other schools are like, no, tarot is archetypes and you put your own insights on it. And so there's this debate, does it predict the future or not? And for me, because I use round cards, my answer is that is the wrong question. With my round cards, what I see are your patterns of thought and of action, your habits. And when I use a layout there's a particular iteration of the Celtic cross that I use with my own tweaks. And as I go from past root into the future that you are building, the future of least resistance, I can see your patterns externally, how you behave, and internally, how you think. And I can literally say, okay. And I kind of divide them up into productive and unproductive thought and productive and unproductive action. And one of the first things I do when I lay out your cards is assess where are you? What do you have the most of? Are you mostly in productive thought and productive action, or are you mostly in unproductive thought and or unproductive action? Because I don't even need to look at the individual cards. I can see the pattern right there. Like I am literally reading your habits of thought and action. And it is those habits of thought and action that build your future, right?
Yes. I completely understand what you mean, where it's like we're not predicting the future, but we're looking at what you tend to do. And
Exactly.
that is carving out that has its own momentum and trajectory. And I think
Uh-huh.
what you offer in the reading is like, we're looking at where, if you didn't change anything, this is what the, the history, your experience, what you are deeply practiced in doing again and again, consciously and unconsciously. That's what um, all that your experience is leading you towards.
This is what you're building, literally.
This is
If you don't stop and think, this is what you're going to build because these are your habits. You're
Yeah,
exactly right. Yep.
and what the reading offers and what I think Sabrina is keen to use the reading as an opportunity for is let's look at where you are headed if you don't do anything and don't think about it. And do you like that? If you like it, then there's no problem. If you want to adjust anything, let's talk about what in those patterns we could shift, you could tweak
Exactly.
to
Yes.
then diverge from that single timeline. You're like creating timelines through awareness and
Hmm.
choice, which is something that I talk about often, where it's like if you are aware of something, you then have the freedom to choose. So it's like awareness will set you free through the power of choice. And that's what this reading is doing. It's like it's making you aware of your patterns and
Mhm.
what timeline those patterns are naturally carving out for you. There's probably
Correct.
something beautiful in that and something that you might want to change about that. And
Correct.
in that, it's like, okay, if you don't love this direction, here are the pieces we can work with through awareness. We're going to bring awareness to these pieces so then you have the freedom to choose how you want to engage with it. And if you don't want to just be barreling down the mountain like a snowball, you can change the course through your awareness by changing how you act. So really, this is just another tool for conscious choice making.
You have nailed it. You have absolutely nailed. And this is what I see as the difference, what I do as a diviner, someone who speaks to your alignment with spirit and your higher self. That's my primary purpose. I'm no longer trying to figure out and focus on, are the meanings right? I'm trying to use all of these years and decades and all of the work I've done in this method to figure out where you're falling out of alignment and how you can get back in a very practical way. And I think that's why, like I said before, almost all the people who come to me when I was younger and I was putting this method together, which some of it, by the way, I use the mother piece in most of my readings, but I also use the round Rider-Waite-Smith. Yay, there is a round Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you know Rider-Waite-Smith language and you want to use the round card method, you can learn it and you don't have to learn a whole new deck, which is super
That's
exciting. And
new, right? Like that's why it's very exciting because that is very recent, like
just a
development.
few years, and when I teach my class, I teach it in October. And I'm sure we'll put in a link for people who might be interested. It's already open. But the thing is, for most of this time, I've used the Round Mother Piece deck, which is a really great deck. On the deck, many of the cards show not only challenges, but how to get out of them. So I think of that as a coaching deck because it kind of right there, it shows you, oh, here's the problem and here's how you get out of it. And I love that. But I also use the Rider-Waite-Smith, and that just allows you to work with the tools really,
Mhm.
really well. Okay, I was going in a direction and I kind of like lost the direction there, but the point is, the bigger point is my job is to help mostly people who are on a healing path for themselves, and very, very often people who will have a role in this time, in this timeline, this time to heal, help, or support others in ways that impact the world. Those are my people because those are usually the people who are willing to see the truth and willing to do the work.
Yeah, this is like it's again, I just want to it's there are different types of readings, there's different styles of readers, and this is not a cute little tarot reading.
Oh, hell
Like
no. Oh no. No, no, no.
it's intense, it's very effective, and it will function as a clear reflector if
Mhm.
I was gonna say if you wanted to, kind of whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's like so just if you want that, then go into it, and if you don't, then maybe this isn't for you at this time. But
Maybe somebody else.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you know someone. But yeah, it's a really powerful mirror and reflector, and it was just a delight to experience it. Um, yeah,
I'm glad. I'm
and you're
glad. Let's pivot
so
back to
happy.
you now
Oh,
because you offer something that I think in a lot of ways is profoundly accessible because your method is inherently gentle. I got a fantastic insight that really supports my healing journey and will immediately and pragmatically impact better my relationship with my mom and my brother. Yay. Good job. Diviner level work there. Good job. You showed me where to pivot. Um, but your method is much more gentle. You do encourage people to think about their questions. You do instruct them that way. You give them a primer before they get started in terms of that web page. But you are softer and perhaps more suitable for a wider range of people.
mm.
Honestly, you're accessible. You don't have to be a diehard. I am here to do fabulous healing work in the world, and therefore I will do my own work, even if it's hard. That's one option, but you can also help people in much gentler ways. And you can also, the second reading I did with you, um, was much more, yeah, you kind of know what you're doing as a diviner and a healer, and you're good. Maybe you want to stop and have some fun now. And you can also have some progress there. Like it doesn't all have to be da 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 Batman. You can make progress on your mission while laughing and having fun. And I needed to hear that, and it was great. Thank you so much. But I think that your work is much more widely accessible than mine. And I think that a wider variety of people could benefit and enjoy it.
Hmm. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really appreciate that and that you named like, oh, the method is gentle, like the modality, the records are gentle. And I think that's something that I value very deeply is gentleness. Um, because it can be hard to integrate stuff when it is like a really striking reflection. And that is not for everybody. And that can, I feel like for folks that are not prepared for that, it can really sit with them for a long time. It can be hard to shake and it can be hard to integrate. And it can have, I feel like it can have negative impacts if someone receives a dark reflection that they're not ready for. And I'm sure folks listening have had that experience, whether it's like from your mom or like from, someone where it's like someone just says it like it is and you're not ready to receive that and it can sting. It can sting. And I think what's lovely is like, yeah, so I appreciate the gentleness because I never want, a reading to sting, even if we're talking about difficult subject matter. Um, and I think for you, it's none of it felt like it stung at all, even though it was clear. There was a clarity and a directness. It was like, I don't know, it was just like more in your face. It had sharper edges, cleaner cut edges than mine. It's like very like diffuse, I feel like. So but
Mhm.
it still didn't sting, and I think maybe that's partly because I like live for that. I'm like, oh yeah, like give me the clear reflection. I'm like eating it up. It's so good. My mouth is watering as I'm saying that. So it's like, oh my gosh, love that.
Yeah.
But also there's something about your method, even though it might not be everyone's cup of tea, it still doesn't have a sting to it, right? It's like you read with compassion and humanity. So it's not that you're getting this like cold, sharp reading, and instead it's warm, it's compassionate, but it's clear. It's very clear, which I think is nice. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think your style, you and your style of reading is something that I'm going to feel very comfortable recommending to other people. And even people who are really new to getting readings. I think you are fabulous and safe, both for people who are advanced in terms of walking a spiritual path, whatever that path may be, and also for people who are very new to this. I still think it's pretty safe and a great choice. And that is absolutely lovely. You to use the university example, which I'm super comfortable with, right? My readings are more like graduate school. Welcome to graduate school. Dun, dun, dun. And your readings are like, you know, I will meet you where you are. I will work with you where you are. I will help you find the questions that are right for you where you are. And you will walk away with something of use wherever you are.
Hmm. Yeah, that feels so good. And it's like, yeah, that is my intention. It's one of my like the deepest intention is to just meet people where they are with gentleness. Mhm.
Yeah. And you absolutely succeed. And it was so lovely. And the first reading was so lovely and useful for me to get that clear message about how to pivot so
Mhm.
that I wasn't a pain in the butt to my mom, but actually supporting her in the way she wanted it. And in the second reading, it was lovely to get affirmed in the work I do. And also, maybe you can stop and have fun, and that will also move you forward in your mission. That was really wonderful. Wonderful for me. Lately, you and I have both been involved in the You Were Born for These Times community, which is this little community that's just now starting uh, in 2024 for practitioners and people who are spiritually inclined, however they define themselves, who want to come and gather and sort of support each other as we each figure out what's our unique role at this time. What were we born here to do? And that was really a spirit-led thing. Like this was not a plan that came from logic. It was like wake you up in the morning and say, "Oh, by the way, there will be an online retreat and it's going to be free and you're going to build a community." And, my initial reaction was like, yeah, right. You're right. But spirit has its way, it sends people, da da da. It sends helpers and it tells you clearly what you're going to do. And it has turned into this beautiful thing that we're going to continue building on. And we're even having another 6-month retreat. I think it's going to be online, and I think it's going to be the date we are discussing is in the middle of August now. So, and we're starting to do just monthly get-togethers. And because the 4 people who facilitated it, I kid you not, each person is from a different geographic region. We have a spiritual practitioner from the east, one from the south, one from the north, and one from the west. And they each brought in people from their own region and we do a lot of breakout rooms as well as having master classes. One of us is an astrologer. I'm a diviner and tarot reader. One of us is a Reiki practitioner. And one of us was a master therapist, a licensed social worker therapist. And so, people were just finding themselves in rooms with others who are like, what am I supposed to do in these times? What is my role here? What should I be doing? And they'd be in a room with somebody from literally across the country and get to talk to each other. And that seems to be kind of growing in its own way. And I'm so excited and curious. It's clearly got a life of its own. And
It does.
I'm super excited to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited that like the community is like rolling and you have yeah, there'll be like monthly things to engage with. It's a really sweet community and I think yeah, for folks that resonate with that and have a sense like, oh, I'm curious, because we are in the midst of really tumultuous times. Um
Yes.
and so if anyone is feeling like uncertain of their role in that, in this time, in this context that we're in, this community is perfect. It's to build community around this, like in this moment, around a sense of purpose in this time. So it's really lovely. And yeah, there were just all kinds of amazing people. All 4 practitioners who lead this group are incredible. And yeah, it's a really there's a lot of like material. That retreat was really good. And so I know you said that you're gonna do
Yes.
one after 6 months. They did one at the beginning of the year and now they're gonna do another one. It's not a 6-month retreat, but it's like 6 months after
No.
the first one is what that meant. And so yeah, yeah, I would say go if you can. It's so fun. You'll get some tarot goodness, Reiki goodness, introspective goodness, astrological goodness. So it's a nice mix of all kinds of esoteric treats.
Right. And the goal is not to tell people what to do, but to support them and give them the opportunity to figure out while talking with other people across the country what it is they feel they're here to be doing. That's the goal, to support you while you figure it out. And in community, not alone, and community that's not just local, but is both local and across the country. So, you know, we'll see how it goes, but it's going really well. And we're trying to make it accessible. So there are a lot of things that are free and there are a lot of things that are just a little bit. And we're figuring out, how to do a range of different offerings. So wherever you are, you can access it. And it combats that sense of isolation. So that's one thing I'm very grateful to have profound, deep, and now wider community. It's good.
Yeah, if you're seeking community connection, just like sincere personal connection with folks, tribe, as it were, that
Yeah.
this might be a place where you could find that. It's really lovely. Beautiful. I'm curious, what's the best way for folks to connect with you?
One, just to invite people to come show up for the monthly gatherings. There's going to be one next week, probably well before this is out, but there'll be one every month. And I will see if I can get you the link to that. And they'll also probably in the not too distant future be a place where people can read about the 6 month retreat and sign up there.
Perfect. Yeah, all the links will be there for you to engage with.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome back. How was that for you? Oh, I feel like that exchange was so rich and that reading was so fun to do for her. I loved reading for her, and it was a privilege to be able to kind of read with respect to her relationship with her mom. That was super special. I always love doing readings where people are asking about how they can tend to relationships in their lives, whether they're super loving or a bit challenging or a bit of both. But yeah, it was so lovely to connect with Sabrina, and I loved receiving my readings from her too. She has so much wisdom and so much experience with her craft, and it really shows, it shines through, and I'm sure you could tell just from the passion and enthusiasm with which she speaks. It's so evident. But yeah, I'd be curious if you made it to the end, how that landed for you. Was there anything that you'll that will stick with you and that you'll take with you after this episode? I'm super curious. And yeah, thank you so, so much for being here. If this episode resonated with you, I would love and deeply appreciate if you could share this with a friend. If there's someone you know that's maybe into tarot or is not into tarot or is, kind of like working through a unique relationship with their parent. If anything about this episode might resonate with someone you know, please, please share this episode with a friend. That's the number one thing you can do to help support this podcast is tell a friend. And if you want to dive even deeper with me, you can subscribe to my Substack community, and there you'll get Akashic goodness every single week. And if you want to go even deeper, I invite you to check out my free 7-day course, Pathways to the Deep Self. And there you'll find lots of beautiful tools, the tools I use every single day to connect more deeply with myself. So if any of that sounds, inviting to you, you are welcome to check that out. All of that is in the show notes. And again, thank you so, so much for being here. Thanks for being part of my community. And I'm wishing you well until next time. Namaste.